So this has been a bizarre situation, the lead up to the June Nintendo Direct. We all knew there would be some sort of Nintendo Direct, but just all the things that have happened with it have just been so weird. Of course, people were putting their lives on the line. They're putting their credibilities on the line for June 15th. That came and went, hey, it didn't happen. But it's okay because we're going to get one on June 29th, right? And evidently, that was the latest thing. But then last week, we got the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Nintendo Direct. So people were kind of leery. Hey, are we going to get a normal Nintendo Direct this month? This is kind of weird. Maybe it will still happen on the 29th. And then today, finally, on June 27th, we got the announcement that there's going to be a Nintendo Direct on June 28th. But there's a bit of an asterisk here, kiddies. A bit of an asterisk here, folks. Because yes, it is a 25-minute Nintendo Direct, but it's a Nintendo Direct Mini, focusing on third-party entries. Like I said, this will be happening tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and I think everyone is kind of stunned by this. First off, let's talk a little bit about the leakers and stuff, because there was only one person who got this right. And it was the one that everyone hates, Nate the Hate. He talked about this like 2 days ago on the Fammy boards, saying that he heard it was going to be a third-party only Nintendo Direct. Nobody else said this, okay? Nobody else said this. All these Twitter experts and insiders and shit, nobody said that except for Nate. So that really should be sort of a telltale sign that a lot of people just talk out of their ass with this stuff. And, you know, it's cool to get your little bit of internet clout, but at some point in time, people have to pick up on the fact that you're kind of an idiot and you don't know what you're talking about. And, you know, you need to be held a little bit accountable. But let's get to the topic at hand, because obviously this is shocking to a lot of people, a third-party only situation. We've seen stuff like this before. They've done these partner showcases before. Remember when COVID was a big thing and everything was shut down? We got a lot of those things during this presentation. And I don't think that a third-party only thing is necessarily a bad thing at all. When we look at the latest Sony State of Play event that happened earlier this month, that was absolutely filled with bangers. You know, there was tons of great announcements, tons of great reveals and things of that nature. So that was a very exciting thing, even though there wasn't a presence of first party stuff. So all because it's a third party direct doesn't mean it's going to be necessarily bad, but there's a little bit of a problem that I have with it. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about here. Usually I do a predictions video where I talk about what I expect to see there based upon, you know, rumors and speculation that there's been. I can't really do that with a third party thing, especially when it comes to Nintendo, because of the main fact that the Switch isn't really a third-party beast. You know, it definitely has a lot of third-party games. There's a lot of exciting games on there. But when you think about it, you know, Nintendo fans usually buy Nintendo products, whether it's hardware or games, and then they don't really stray too much off of the path. You know, yes, there have been some successful third-party games on the Switch thus far, but for the most part, when it comes to third-party stuff, Nintendo fans kind of avoid it, or they don't buy it quite as much. You know, what games can there be here that we're not super familiar with already that are scheduled to come to the Switch? You know, yes, there have been the anomalies like Monster Hunter Rise and stuff like that, but for the most part, your third-party stuff are just later ports of games. And even still, you know, newer games that were scheduled to come out on the Switch on day one, games like Doom Eternal and Marvel's Midnight Suns, they end up getting delayed, and, you know, they come out several months later. Will there be sort of an indie focus on this? You know, that's kind of an issue I have with it, because while you do have to keep your expectations in line, you also want to see like new and exciting games. You want to know about what is coming out to the system. And with a company like Sony and even Microsoft, you know, if a third party presentation is announced for it, there still can be very, very exciting stuff, some big bangers, some stuff that you're not familiar with. But obviously the Nintendo Switch isn't quite as powerful as those systems. So you kind of either have to, you know, focus on ports of games or games that, you know, maybe we just don't know about. Could the fabled Resident Evil Revelations 3 for the Nintendo Switch be at this event? I'm not going to hold my breath, but I would be excited for it. You know, I love me some Resident Evil. GoldenEye, could this be the chance that GoldenEye needs? Obviously, this game supposedly is a complete done deal. It is going to happen. There's a lot of people expecting it. We were expecting it at the Microsoft showcase. Of course, that came and went, and that game was not there. A lot of people questioned why. Could Nintendo be holding that game back for their own presentation because of the whole rights issue with it? It's a very slippery slope. It's kind of all over the place with that game. But at the end of the day, this is kind of a potential thing. Persona games, there's another franchise, you know, like I've been saying, this is do or die for Persona to come to the Nintendo Switch as far as the mainline games are concerned. If there's no Persona here, you're not getting any mainline Persona games on the Switch. Play them on your PlayStation. Play them on your Xbox because they're coming up on that. But then we get to even the bigger mystery with all of this. And it's like, okay, you know, if this is just a third-party presentation, if this is just third-party stuff, what is Nintendo doing for the rest of the year? Because that's where the questions really lie. That, I think, is the thing that people were looking forward to knowing about the most. We know about, you know, Splatoon 3, by extension, the Pokemon games and stuff like that. Bayonetta 3 is supposedly a 2022 game. But what the hell else is Nintendo doing for the rest of the year? And that's where the mystery comes into play, because it's kind of wide open for the second half of the year. The first half of the year, you know, they started out with a bunch of announcements and a bunch of things. Some of those games ended up being really good. Games like Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Some of those games ended up being super half-assed. Looking at you, Mario Strikers. Just, God almighty. I literally uninstalled that game. That's a story for another day. But you have to question, well, what is Nintendo doing for the rest of the year? You could just, you know, turn around and throw that back at Sony as well, because like I've been saying, you know, Sony did something similar to this. But with Sony, you kind of expected that. You know, you kind of knew that God of War Ragnarok was going to be the big game. They're probably going to do a big presentation on it. And, you know, that's pretty much it. You know, that's what we were expecting even at the start of the year with this. However, with Nintendo, it's like, aren't you hitting your groove with this system? Like, what are you holding back something? What's the mystery with this? Why is this not a full direct? Do you not have first party games to show off? Because if you have 25 minutes of third party stuff, you throw in 20 minutes of Nintendo stuff, that seems like a really beefy direct. I think what it boils down to is, it's going to be very interesting to see what the hell happens tomorrow. Like, that's all we could take away from this, because there's really no sort of information out there. There's really, you know, no sort of leaks that have come out that have just been saying it's a third-party direct, what the games are expected to be there. But I think that makes it a bit exciting. You know, I like chaos. If you haven't picked up on that yet, if you don't follow my Twitter account or stuff like that, I like chaos. I like to push buttons. I like people, you know, getting, you know, topsy-turvy about stuff, because it makes for a more interesting situation. And I think that's what we have to take away with this. You know, tomorrow's going to be a very interesting day. I don't know what the hell to expect. It could be really good. It could be really bad. It could be really mid, but at least it's something. At least it's something, and maybe we'll get lucky. You know exactly where I'm going with this. Maybe we'll get lucky, and then these companies will come out and, you know, they're doing third-party collaborations with Nintendo franchises, such as Fire Emblem and Xenoblade, because we need more Fire Emblem and Xenoblade representation in everything. Give me a Fireblade. Yes, Fireblade. That's the new one. It's a game called Fireblade, a combination of Xenoblade and Fire Emblem into a beautiful baby of an awesome game that's the game of the decade that'll sell 50 million copies. I just kind of burped while I was talking there. I don't know, my throat is getting very dry. I honestly just rolled out of bed with this, but I wanted to talk about it because it's weird as hell. It's weird as hell. Nintendo's gonna Nintendo, and I mean, we're just gonna sit here and go for the ride. So let me know in the comment section down below what you plan on seeing tomorrow, what you expect to see tomorrow, because you don't know. You don't know. There's no, you can't go in the comment section and be like a big leaker or something like this and be like, my uncle works at Nintendo and he told me, you know, this is the games to expect and there's going to be Square Enix stuff in there. You have no freaking idea what's going to be there tomorrow. I have no freaking idea what's going to be there tomorrow. And really, that's what makes it exciting for me. That's what makes it interesting for me. I hope it's a home run. I'll settle for a double, but there is a chance that it's a pop fly. And just, you know. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching this video. Like I said, give me your thoughts in the comment section down below. I, of course, will make a video after the presentation. I don't do live reactions because I don't sit there and shit my pants and, hype, oh my God, a game that's 5 years old is coming to a platform. It's like, wow, that's something. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. That'll be tomorrow, talking about the Direct. Later.